Hi everyone, I'm here today to talk to you about all of the books that I have bought recently or been sent for review. As usual, everything I mention will be linked in the description box down below. First off, we have a novel and it's one I purchased myself. It is called The Other Bennet Sister by Janice Hadlow. This probably should have been in my most anticipated releases video, but it just completely slipped my mind when I was making it. But no matter, it's one of the earliest releases of the year, so I have it now. And as you may be able to tell from the title, this is a play on Pride and Prejudice. So this is told from the point of view of Mary, Lizzie's sister who's into books and music and studying and grows up watching all of her sisters get married. Playing around with classics can be messy. It doesn't always produce the best results, but sometimes it can be delightful. And I'm really hoping that this falls into the delightful category. The first sentence is this: "It is a sad fact of life that if a young woman is unlucky enough to come into the world without expectations, she had better do all she can to ensure she is born beautiful. To be poor and handsome is misfortune enough, but to be penniless and plain is a hard fate indeed." Next on the pile is this book here, which was a Christmas present from Jennifer over at Insert Literary Pun here. If you don't already follow her channel, you should. I'll link it in the description box down below. When this arrived in the post, I was actually quite confused because I was sure that I had bought this book several years ago, and I checked my shelves and it wasn't there, and I thought, did I order this? Did it never arrive? Has it taken 2 years to reach me? But then I realized, no, this was a gift from Jennifer and I had never purchased this book, but I definitely had been meaning to, so it is an excellent gift. It's called When My Brother Was an Aztec by Natalie Diaz. Natalie Diaz is Mojave, so some of this collection, or in fact most of this collection, looks at Native American culture, specifically Mojave culture, and it's about family dynamics and it weaves together lots of different mythologies. So I'm looking forward to reading that. Next on the pile is a book I was sent for review. This again is one of my most anticipated books of the year. It's called English Monsters by James Scudamore and it is coming out on the 5th of March. I've never read any of his books before. I know that he's been shortlisted for the Man Booker, I think, and various other prizes, but I heard about this one because Evie Wilde had read an advanced copy and was raving about it. This is giving me secret history vibes. It's about a group of boys, then young men, because this spans 10 years, who are sent away to boarding school and weird things happen there. They keep lots of secrets, things are covered up, alliances are made and broken down, and it's about them when they're older, looking back on the things that happened to them when they were younger. So sounds dark and twisted, very much here for all of that. Next is a non-fiction book that I bought myself. It's this one here called Woman in the Polar Night by Christiane Ritter. This was written in 1934. Christiane was born in 1897. She died in 2000 at the age of 103. And in this book, she's talking about the year that she moved to Spitsbergen, which is an Arctic island. And she moved there with her husband. She's a painter and she thought that he was sent there for work and she thought she would go with him and it would be really relaxing and wonderful and she'd get to read loads of books and it would be cozy inside the place that they were living in. And then she got there. At first, Christiane is horrified by the freezing cold, the bleak landscape, the lack of equipment and supplies, but after encounters with bears and seals, long treks over the ice, and months on end of perpetual night, she finds herself falling in love with the Arctic's harsh, otherworldly beauty, gaining a great sense of inner peace and a new appreciation for the sanctity of life. So this is one of those travelling classics. I'm hoping it's going to be like an extreme of Names for the Sea by Sarah Moss. We shall see. I mentioned in my winter reads video that I've been into the British Library Crime Classics series. I've been reading those. I've read 2 so far, loved one, wasn't so keen on the other. These are 3 other ones I've picked up recently, and I'll mention them briefly because I mentioned them in the winter reads video. This is Murder by Matchlight by E.C.R. Lorac. This is about someone who witnesses a murder near a bridge during a blackout during the Second World War, and when the murderer walks away he lights a cigarette, and in that brief moment when a match is lit he sees the face of the murderer, and that's the only clue as to who committed the murder. Then I also bought Somebody at the Door by Raymond Postgate. This is a murder that's set on a train. As I mentioned in my winter reads video, Murder on the Orient Express is obviously a classic, but even when I read it the first time as a teenager, I knew what the ending was. So I'm looking forward to reading a book where I suppose the suspects are limited because you're in a confined space, and then you slowly find out who committed the crime. And then the third one is The Division Bell Mystery by Ellen Wilkinson, which is about the murder of an MP in the House of Commons. So I will get to those at some point. I'm taking a little break from reading them because I just read 2 in quick succession, so I'll get to those at some point. Next, I was sent this review copy from Penned in the Margins. It's called Sanatorium by Abby Palmer. It's a debut creative nonfiction memoir, partly set in Budapest, partly set in London. And I love it when publishers get in touch when they've really thought about who the audience of this book is. It's a very, very me book, and I'm very excited to read it. One of the key selling points on the back says that it is an innovative debut that challenges preconceptions around chronic pain, the queer body, and disability. So, you know, tick, tick, tick. All of the ticks. I'll speak about it once I've read it. I also bought this poetry collection here, which is Paige Lewis's debut collection. I have read quite a lot of their work online in various different publications. I came across them because they are Cavarat Bar's partner, and I have loved what I've read so far. So I'm very excited to dive into this. Let me read you a couple of lines I was just flicking through earlier, and this is a poem that I read. It's called God Stops By to show me how healthy he's been. He's been sleeping more, built his own gym, mostly muscle now. He gives me the fat off his steak. I eat because he offers, not because I need. It's hard to feel hungry when everything in this world tastes small and wrong, like rubber grapes or sun-boiled eggs. When I was small, I was certain that what was holy was mine. I caught moths in the garden, pressed their wings between my thickest book, and waited for new moths to sprout up and out of the pages. And it goes on from there. I'm really looking forward to getting to this. I am also very excited to get to this, which is another of my most anticipated books of the year. This is When the Lights Go Out by Caris Bray, her third novel, her fourth book. This is about a husband and wife, Emma and Chris. Have I just invented those names? No, Emma and Chris. There we go. Emma is preparing for Christmas and Chris is preparing for the end of the world. It is a climate change novel, and it's also about anxiety and fear. And I'm guessing that maybe some points of this were taken from a short story that she put in Sweet Home, which is about a new father's anxiety about all the ways he might accidentally kill his baby. That's the vibe that I'm getting from this, and that's the story of hers stuck with me the most. So that, coupled with all of these new themes and in a novel form, hello, yes please, thank you very much. I was also sent this super advanced proof copy. This is for a book that's coming out in October, and this is Earthings by Siaka Murata, translated from the Japanese by Ginny Tapley Take-Mori. Siaka Murata is the author of Convenience Store Woman, which was one of my favourite books of last year. This is one of her earlier titles. I think Convenience Store Woman was her 10th book, but the first to be translated into English. So they're delving into her backlist. I've heard this is dark and twisted. This is about 2 people who believe that they are aliens from outer space. And that's all I got right now, but I will talk about it more once I have read it. I also was sent a finished copy of The Island Child by Molly Aitken, which again, one of my most anticipated books of the year. This is coming out in January. It is about Irish folklore and family. So I'll get to that soon. This pile is looking quite precarious. I bought this short story collection by Arenison Okaji called Nudie Branch. I really enjoyed some of the stories in her debut collection, Speak Gigantula, which came out a couple of years ago. And this one, again, is magical realism, and I'm really looking forward to reading it. A touch of sci-fi as well, I think. The ones on the blurb that I'm most intrigued by are stories about dimension-hopping monks sworn to silence who face a bloody reckoning, and a homeless man who goes right back to the very beginning through a gap in time. Finally, I was sent this book unsolicited in the post for review, but I read the blurb and it sounds amazing. So I'm 100% keeping this one and will be reading it and reporting back. It's coming out in March. The reviews are saying that it's an exciting new gothic voice on the scene. And this is the blurb, okay? It says, everyone knew best-selling novelist Cassandra Tipp had twice got away with murder. Even her family were convinced of her guilt. So when she disappears, leaving only a long letter behind, they can only suspect that her conscience finally killed her. But the letter is not what anyone expected. It tells 2 chilling, darkly disturbing stories. One is the story of bloody nights and magical gifts, of children lost to the woods, of husbands made from twigs and leaves and feathers and bones. The other is the story of a little girl who was cruelly treated and grew up crooked in the shadows, tormenting her family. But which story is true, and where is Cassie now? So, yeah, I'll read that and report back. Those are all the books that I wanted to talk to you about today. I would love to know if you have read any of these or if you're looking forward to reading any of these. Also, what books have you bought recently or taken out from the library? Leave me a comment. Let's have a chat. I hope you're having a great week and I'll speak to you all very soon. Lots of bookish love. Bye.